crazy markets, and ignorant economists. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday. Oh, my goodness. Sunday, January the 24th, 2021. Big day for football. Big day for a lot of things, but this is Bubba's Bottom Line, and today's first session will be brought to you by our friends at CTG, our preferred futures and commodities broker, although we have other ones, but they are the only ones who are licensed to handle our letter of direction trading. They've got terrific customer service. They've got some brand new products that they're coming out with. You can check them out. Go to capitaltradinggroup.com, or you can email me at bubba@bubbatrading.com. I'll send you their link, but they do a great job. And in fact, they do such a great job, they do my accounts as well. In the meantime, here we are, another crazy week in markets. And, we'll get to that in our market segment. But of course, once again, we've got the economists calling for the end of the world. And now, it's amazing. When President Trump won, it was the end of the world and they would never go up. And we've only gone up dramatically. Then when Biden won, then the markets are going to collapse. And somehow we got to new highs. Yeah, interesting. When you watch how they work, and of course, I don't think they understand what the hell's going on. And, certainly we know one thing for sure. The Fed and their ignorant economic indicators and their inflation adjustments are ridiculous because there is a very high inflation right now. Just ask any farmer. They'll tell you about the inflation that they're feeling when they're paying more for fuel, they're paying more for fertilizer, they're paying more for tractors, they're paying more for everything, but there's no inflation. You tell me, okay? Explain that to me. Okay, where there is no inflation. Okay, again, we can have this talk all we want about the what is going on with the economy, but no inflation, no, because inflation continues to be masked by, of course, the federal funds that continue to the Fed that continues to pump money in and continue to add to the money supply, making our dollars worth less, but seem like more, keeping cost on. It's such a vicious cycle, and it's designed by a bunch of idiots. Okay, I mean, to believe that printing money will get you out of the problems that you have, which is why they should have let the banks bust out that couldn't make through 2009. I still go back to that because many of the banks were fine. And they didn't all need the ridiculous stimulus that, of course, we, the American taxpayer, got to fund for them. Okay, so we can have all the conversations we want. Okay, but at the end of the day, it is the ridiculousn's of believing that you can prevent a depression or a recession when it's coming. Now, when? I have no idea. By a year, a month, a day, who knows? Nobody knows. Okay. We've seen over the last few years a couple of major meltdowns that have immediately recovered. I mean, do you realize we're only up 100% basically since since March. Okay, the Nasdaq is up over 100%. The others are up 70, 80% since the sell-off in March. So look, you cannot prevent it. The idea of a whole system is to let those that can't survive go out of business and bring in new blood and new business. But, we've got tyranny, okay, which will lead eventually to a revolution. You think I'm kidding and you think I'm nuts when I say that. But with the government taking so much control, okay, and with this new jobs, the Minimum Wage Act, okay, I thought the Democrats were the party of the small. In the meantime, they are doing everything in their power to put them out of business. Okay. You raised to $15 an hour. I understand it in New York and in California. Okay. And maybe to Illinois to a certain extent, but there's no need in other states. Okay. I mean, you put these guys out of business because what's going to happen is they're not going to be able to pay their employees. So they're either going to have crappy service or they're going to have to be forced to close. Now, again, if they're not handling the very wealthy top of the scale is in total control, while the average middle class is going to continue to struggle and get worse and worse, which again is the whole issue with what we're doing here with this system. Okay. So again, you think it's a joke, but you think the Capitol riots, we can blame Trump all we want for inciting those. Did he incite Portland and Minneapolis and the other places where all the violence took place, where we had the peaceful protesting? Okay. Did he surround the Capitol in Washington? Okay. Was that Trump's fault too? We're still blaming Trump as they try to impeach him again. For what reason? So they can waste more of our time as Nancy Pelosi is on the warpath against Republicans. Look, I don't like either party. Okay. That's the bottom line. But don't you think that we should maybe it's been 4 years and they got their candidate in? You think maybe they'd go to work now and actually do something to benefit Americans instead of voting themselves raises? You think maybe they do something? Maybe they would actually try to work on a budget or change some of the things that are killing the economy. Okay, for example, Social Security, 70% of the budget. Now, again, Social Security, you may look at it as a benefit or a perk or whatever the words I'm looking for now, which I can't think of. But you paid for your own Social Security, so you're entitled to that money. That is not an entitlement. We finance, done properly. We finance our own retirement and Social Security money. Unfortunately, it gets into the hands of the politicians that then throw it all in the garbage can, basically, because, of course, that's what they do best, which is why they want to be in office so long, because they have a way of somehow, I don't know how it gets done, but somehow both parties scam the system, which is why the right is also turned on ex-President Trump, because, again, they didn't want him in the first place because he was stopping all of the outflows of our capital. But, look, what do we know for sure? Existing home sales continue the highest level since 2006. Now, you put together the math for me on this, okay? Do the math problem here. We have nobody working. Half the states are closed. Unemployment continues to go higher, okay? And yet, housing sales are exploding. How does that happen? Well, it happens because you lift off restrictions of the banks. It happens because you make money so cheap that it's how can I not go on to buy a house? Okay. And you put yourself in a position to let this whole thing replay of 2008 over again. I mean, this bubble we have now looks to me like a combination of the 90s and the housing bubble of 08. Okay, it looks like a combo. I mean, the next one's going to be a doozy. And again, we're not predicting it. We're long. You'll hear our positions when we get there. But at the end of the day, I mean, let's face it. The free money train, which we, the American taxpayer, get to fund, okay, does nothing. It does not promote growth. It does not promote anything. Okay, so, and now you want to force us and what we have to pay. In the meantime, everything else is skyrocketing. How is a small business, going to survive? When you cannot defend against mandates. And again, you're going to see more issues that are going to start to pop up because at some point you back people into a corner, and that can only lead to bad when it's all said and done. But, keep adding into the money supply. Just keep printing away. You get Yellen and Powell now, which God knows what they're going to do. So why wouldn't markets go higher? Okay. I mean, where's the money going to go? Yeah, so, look, I think you've got issues. And, of course, and God forbid now, we should worry about gender-neutral playing cards. I'm so sick of this whole gender-neutral everything generation okay, I'm about ready to lose it all. I mean, it's, look, we've got issues. We all know that. But at the end of the day, the most qualified person should get the job. Pay should be equal to everybody. It shouldn't matter what your sex or what your color or what you are. Okay. If you can do the job, you should get the job. And wages should be determined on a free market basis, not on a government mandate. Okay. Asset classes and payments or payroll or paychecks can be classified as assets that can price themselves, because what does the market bear? That's what you have to pay. If it bears $15 an hour and that's what you have to do to compete, then $15 it should be. But if it doesn't, why should you have to pay it? Okay. I mean, but we don't want asset classes to price themselves anymore. The government wants to be in control, which is why we're seeing ridiculous housing sales in a time where it should be nowhere. We should know our market should not be expanding based on data, which is why, of course, we don't trade the news, and I could care less. We're going to play the trend. But my point is very simple. Okay, but now you want us to you want to make playing cards gender neutral. I mean, so let's just change everything, because we've done nothing to this point. Let's see, we're the number one country in the world. We supply money and products and goods to everybody. Okay, we're always there to bail everybody out, but let's keep changing everything so we can just become a crap nation. Okay, I don't see all these major changes that they want to make right now, and certainly, in President Biden's speech at the inauguration, okay, he did no favors for Israel either, which again I think is a mistake. But listen, I'm not going to get into the dispute. I hope that he can stay moderate at what he is and not get pushed too far to the left. That's my only hope for this president. I hope he does well. I want the economy to succeed. I want the country to succeed. But we are certainly headed in a direction that's going to lead to tyranny and a revolution following. It's almost a repeat of some of the things we went to war for in the first place. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. I am Todd Bubba Horowitz, and of course, it is Sunday. We're going to stop out here for a break, and we'll be right back with our market updates. So, kids, yesterday I did session 3 of options training. It's a free course offered by one of our brokerage partners at Tradier. Okay. Now, again, I have other accounts at other brokers, but my preference is Tradier. A, because they're $10 a month. Okay. B, because they give you great customer service. I don't know if you've ever had a problem when the markets are really busy and you can't get a hold of anybody at some of the major brokerage houses. I've had problems, and Tradier is right on the phone. Okay. And emails answered almost immediately. So again, and of course, we've got their APIs, and we are now offering, if you choose, to be fully automated in our hedging portfolios and our equity portfolios. Okay, which means that you just have to set it and forget it. But again, that's up to you, and there is no additional cost to it. It's just a way that we are trying to help our members, because that's what our business is about, is taking care of our members. And of course, they're giving this free 6-session training course, which normally, if I was doing it, I would normally charge over $2,000 for this course per person. So I'm telling you, if you want the recording from yesterday, email me. I'll be happy to send it to you. We talk strategies, and we're at the very beginning part. But overall, great class. I'm glad that that Tradier offered it to everybody. Okay, and of course, our partners at Family Farms. We saw what happened in the grain market yesterday, right? Well, this is why we want our farmers to always be protected, which is why we want them to learn how to hedge properly. But Family Farmers is great, and I can't wait until we get out of this ridiculous pandemic and the being locked down at home and all this other stuff. We got to get this country open. And of course, the commodity report, which Andy Hecht is all over it. And, he now comes on with me on Mondays on the Monday Night Call and does such a good job covering it. And we talked about last Monday that there was warnings being shown in some of the grain markets. We were long, but we knew there were some warnings coming up. And of course, anyways, great report called Technomental. And of course, our high school program at patreon.com/Bubba Trading. That's Patreon.com/Bubba economists.com/Bubba Trading. Now let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and me, Todd Bubba Horwitz, and my financial commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, January the 24th. And of course, surprise, as we predicted last Sunday night, Monday morning, the markets got hurt. They got hammered. And by the end of the week, what had happened? New highs across the board. I mean, so there you have it. Okay. The perfect example of what makes markets is the price action. Okay. And we saw new highs in the Russell, Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ. Okay. Now, are they going to continue? Well, I see no reason that they won't continue. Look, again, free money, added money supply, chasing yield for any number of reasons, which is also starting to move itself into other markets at the same time. That was part of the reason and part of the help of the commodity markets, of the grain markets. Not only was there good reason fundamentally, but also people looking for places to go with their money. Now, this is not the money that you hear on the sidelines. The people that have money, there's always money to go where the spot is hot. Okay. People are going to jump in wherever they think. And of course, they were now working with the grains. And we've seen some dramatic, even with Friday's ugly sell-off, we've seen some pretty big moves. And of course, we are still long across the board in all the indexes. The metals had a wild week as well. And I think they've shown that they're probably going to fail. Okay. I think that you've seen, I think gold and silver, which are short both, gave it their best shot to get out of this downtrend. And I think they failed. Now, we'll see. Again, I'm not going to make major predictions. My position, I'm short. So you look at my account, that's what you'll see, short gold, short silver. But platinum actually made a new 5-year high over the week. And, it came back to support late in the week, but it was almost close to 1,200 before pulling back. But we saw some wild moves. But for the week, they were all up. Gold and silver were up marginally. Platinum was up nicely. And, again, there's no reason to think that the trends will not continue. The bonds and notes are slightly higher for the week. We're still short. I mean, I didn't understand why they're still rallying. And, of course, the more money they print, again, the lower the bond price should be. As long as they continue to pump money in and keep interest rates low, the bond prices should fall. And we'll see. We'll see. We're seeing a classic battle right now between the Fed and fixed income. And of course, the fixed income people are the ones who are getting tortured and punished the most here, which is a tragedy. Okay, because you're forcing people that really can't afford to be fully invested in markets, to be fully invested, to have any chance to gain any yield. And look. I love when the pundits say the stock market pays a higher dividend than the 10-year. Well, yeah, it does in theory, but it doesn't account. The 10-year, you're getting your money back. The stock market, there's no guarantee in 10 years you're getting your money back what you put in. You might get a lot more based on statistics, but again, what if you get the big haircut, and then what do? Do you have the guts to stay? And my guess is most will not. So that's, of course, that fuels these sell-offs. Anyways, but crude oil. Look, as much as I hate it, and I hate being long it, I'm still long it. And it's really just in ranges 51 to 55. And again, with OPEC back in control, that we are not going way down again for now. I mean, they're going to figure out a way to get the price higher. And they'll continue to cut production until it goes higher. I mean, and of course, their cost with the produce is probably zero. Okay, but they'll be making nice, huge profits. So let's make them more billionaires and make sure we keep the frackers out of business. Let's keep the Americans out of work and make sure we give it to these Saudis. Okay, but in the meanwhile, net gas was a little bit lower. We're still long, but it looks pretty. It looks kind of ugly. It's been a very mild winter. Copper, was higher again. It's amazing. Now it did come back quite a bit from its earlier highs in the week, but it's still higher. So look. It's telling you, okay, right now, Dr. Copper loves these markets. Okay, it's like Blue Horseshoe loves Blue Star Airlines. Dr. Copper loves the markets, and you can listen. As long as it's going up, it's telling you that there's some strength. I mean, look at the lumber market. We don't cover lumber, but look at lumber markets. I mean, they're the most liquid, crooked markets ever. But in the meantime, lumber's almost $800. It was just $400. Okay. So, and of course, the dollar, which we are long now, was slightly lower. And I think you're at support. We'll see. Look, if it reverses back over, we'll reverse with it. I'm not worried about it. Okay. Again, I don't look at anything on my portfolio stuff till after the close, anyways. And of course, as we talked about the grain markets, what a spanking they took on Friday. Now, we expected a sell-off. I didn't expect that they'd be that big. Okay. However, I did say last week on RFD TV and radio that if we got down to $5, it wouldn't surprise me. The key is going to be here, and corn's going to be at $5, and beans is going to be what happens at $13, and in wheat, what's going to happen at around $6.40, $6.50. Now, we're going to reverse, unfortunately, because I hate the reverse. We're going to reverse our corn and beans, okay, tomorrow night, tomorrow morning or tonight, but at the end, obviously, I think that it's probably a mistake, but I don't argue with the system. I don't argue with the trend. But of course, I believe we've got a lot more room on the upside coming. Now, again, it doesn't matter. We'll change back as we did in the meats, right? So in the meats, we are now long everything. We did get long feeders this week, and of course, they had a big up week. But we weren't long for all. We didn't get long until somewhere in midweek, but we are long feeders now. We've been long hogs, and they had a nice week up. And of course, we've been long fats and haven't got out, and they pushed up so they're all now pushing up to new near-term highs. Okay. And again, look, bottom line is we'll trade the trend. And, again, I was short feeders for a little bit of the rally. And when the grains rally, which they will, but now maybe we'll make a profit first. That I can't say. See, that I don't know how they're going to get there. But I would not be surprised to see, $6 corn, $6.50 corn. I wouldn't be surprised to see $7.50, $8 wheat. I wouldn't be surprised to see $16, $17 beans before it's all said and done. But in the meantime, right now, the trends have reversed, so we'll reverse with them. And the softs, which I hardly look at it ever, but I do try to report in. And of course, we are still long cotton. We are still short OJ. We are still long coffee. We are still long sugar. And we are still short cocoa. And, again, those had moderate weeks. We're seeing some quiet, a little bit of calming, but yet we get these moves and we see this continued grind of complacency. So we'll see how it plays out. In the meantime, that's what we have. That's what I see. But we know the reasons we're driving higher is nothing to do with the economy, because the markets markets are looking either forward at what they think is going to happen, or it's free money. Now you keep adding the money supply. Money's got to go somewhere. So now, just an interesting note. Okay, Walmart. We're supposed to have all this social distancing and all this, enough capacity of stores. I had to go to Walmart. The store was packed. Okay, I don't get it. But again, who am I going to argue? I mean, I've said all along I thought the virus was leaked, and magically out came a report this week that one of Biden's guys said that a lab let it out in Wuhan. So in the meantime, that information couldn't come out before. It was still after. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. In the meantime, the markets could care less. They have not, after the initial sell-off back in March, they haven't missed a beat. Okay. So you would only expect to look for markets to continue to go higher. I'm already seeing the projections from the economists, okay, that the second half of the year, okay, well, maybe we'll see. Look, the markets could change tomorrow. They could change 6 months. They could change in 6 years. Nobody knows the answer to when. Okay, that's what makes economists so worthless. They're so much living in the 18th century. Okay, and not the 21st century. I mean, it's criminal to even hear them speak. And if you follow them, you should go have your head exam. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, January 24th. We're going to step out here for break, and we'll be right back with my commentary and, of course, more importantly, my football picks. Remember, we've got some great partners in our business. We've got, for our family farms, for helping our farmers who, again, it is my goal to help educate the farming community. I think they've been taken advantage of far too long. And I think Family Farms agrees with me there that we got to help and give them the best information available. And, that's the partners that I like to be with, just like our brokerage partners. I have other brokerage accounts. I have many brokerage accounts, but I prefer for futures and commodities, the CTG group. Why? Because they've got great customer service, because they help you if you're not sure what to do. They've got some new managed products that you can have a look at. Okay. And they do my accounts. If that tells you anything, they do my executions for me. Okay. That should tell you how highly I think of them. And for equities and options, the trading, there's nothing like them. Yesterday, I did another free class of 3 of 6, which you can get the recording to 3 if you want to email me at bubba@bubbatrading.com. But of course, you've got $10 a monthly commission tops. Think about that, okay? What you're paying now versus $10, okay? We've got their API, so we have the ability to automate. If you want to be part of the automation, you don't have to be. There is no restriction. You don't pay more for it. You can, if you choose, you can use our feature. Okay, it's part of your membership. Okay, and of course, the options course. So why would I want to go anywhere else? And our commodity report. Okay, Andy Hecht does such a phenomenal job writing that thing and telling you what's going on, and he's tying in our algorithms with the fundamentals. Okay, comes up with trades. I'm just saying to you that look, you have to, you got to check it out if you're a commodities fan, because it is spectacular. Okay, and you can see it at bubbatrading.com, Technomental, and of course our high school program, which we're just trying to rebuild everything. It's a tough year. And so, and we finance, about 92% of it. There is some help from you at Patreon, which we appreciate. And if you want to help us out, it's Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. That's patreon.com/Bubba Trading. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. This is Todd Bubba Horowitz. It is Sunday, January the 24th. And, well, we know how many problems we have in this country, okay, from a financial issue. Forget about the social issues right now, the finances, right? We know that we continue to have this building mountainous debt. We've got a Federal Reserve and a Congress that is freewheeling with the cash, because what do they care? Okay. But there were so many easy solutions to repair and actually try to get back on track, but yet the government stands in the way. Okay. I mean, the last administration, the Trump administration, did not federally legalize marijuana. Why? I have no idea. Okay. But the Supreme Court ruled that you could legalize gambling in all 50 states. But of course, the states' governments are such greedy pigs that they will not make a fair deal to allow these sports books or bookmakers to operate, which then, because, bookmakers they don't make a fortune on one game. They're not taking a side. They're holding action, and they're only taking out what they call the vigorish. Okay. So you figure out what they're trying to make is 5% of the amount of dollars that they handle. Okay, so if they handle $1 million on each side, they're making 5%. Now, of course, sometimes they get risk, but in the meantime, to the point at hand, okay, if they would just legalize marijuana and just put together a program with the sports books in all 50 states, okay, I mean, DraftKings cannot be in California or New York right now, or Vegas. Okay, because Vegas doesn't want them in because these guys offer too many good things for the players, right? But if they would do that and use that tax money to fund the deficit, we could fund this in no time. Those two industries alone could make big profits for themselves, which is great, okay, but also pay enough taxes on monies that are not costing the government anything to generate. So why are we not putting in a federal for pot and for gambling and making it reasonable and not taxing everybody out of business when you could get such a big flow of capital? It is ignorant, okay, on all parties here. It's such a simple solution that even a second grader could have figured this out, Okay, just make it federal, allow more investors, more funds to step into the marijuana market. I mean, they smoke it anyways, whether it's legal or not, people smoke it. Okay, so why not capitalize on it and make a fair tax rate so that they can make a living and you can make a living and we can pay the bills? Wouldn't that make sense? It probably makes too much sense, but that's the way it is, and that's what I see is more ignorance and greed by government instead of letting these things happen, because it would do a tremendous. Believe me, the gambling industry is growing so fast, along as with the pot industry. You've got the two of the fastest growing businesses that could finance everything. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line, and of course, football. Okay, speaking of sports books, okay, we are taking, or we already took, the Green Bay Packers and laid 3. Okay. Now, just full disclosure, as I give you on everything, I originally took Tampa +4, but I switched over to, I got Green Bay at 3, and I took them for a nice wager. And I also have Buffalo. Okay. The Buffalo Bills, the hottest team in football. Okay. So those are our plays for today. We like them both. I like Green Bay a little bit better. Okay. But I do like Buffalo too. But I see Pat Mahomes. I know he's playing. I knew he was always going to play. It was never a doubt. But I don't know how flexible he's going to be, but he is awfully good. So, let me that. Buffalo and Green Bay, and everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Okay. We'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update, of course. In the meantime, enjoy, be healthy, be safe, have a great weekend. As always, I thank you for being a part of Bubba's Bottom Line.